For me, Japan has always been the home of the latest and greatest technology. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, everything was coming from Japan, from Nintendo, from Sony. It was the coolest home of technology. But over the last few years, we've kind of seen that sheen wear off as China has dominated technology and innovation in a very big way. So right now I'm sitting here in an electric car in Yokohama in Japan. And I'm not just sitting in any electric car, this is a Toyota electric car. This is the C+Pod. But I want to find out, is this just a compliance car? Or is it a serious start to the game that Toyota are about to begin? There's only one way to find out. Welcome to Yokohama, Japan, and welcome to the Fully Charged Show.
The Fully Charged Show is generating positive energy with its live events all around the world. Next up, it's Fully Charged Live Canada. Click the top right of the screen to get your tickets today.
So let's turn the clock back to 1949, post-war Japan. Now, a lot of people back in that time did not have a lot of money. There was not a lot of industry. Most people had motorbikes. But in order to build an industry, the government created a category of cars called K-cars, these small, compact city runarounds with small engines. K-car, or KD Josha, I think that's right, are these little nuggets that can drive around these small Japanese cities. And the focus is always on efficiency. Now, there's only really two companies who are electrifying K-cars so far. One is Nissan, and the other, surprisingly, is Toyota with the C+Pod behind me. And going back to that point about efficiency, the Japanese automakers have always been kings of efficiency, whether it's their ICE engines, getting higher MPG, or just smart solutions, which everyone doesn't really think about, but you think, oh, I could have done without that. Now, this car is not something you would call a performance monster by any stretch of the imagination. So it's actually got a limited top speed of 60 kilometers an hour. I think that's 36 miles an hour. But for city streets like this in Yokohama, it is perfect. No cars are doing much faster than we are right now. So obviously with a car like this, there's a lot of differences to a very kind of normal, bigger size car. So first of all, the car is actually made from plastic. So you do hear a lot of bumps and rattles from the outside. It also means that your basic facilities within the car are exactly that, they're basic. For example, I was looking for the window open switch earlier, but there's no window, it's this. It's a little clip that you pull down, which is fine because it keeps the weight of the car down, it gives you more efficiency and gives you ultimately more range. Now, if you look at the front of the C+Pod, it's a bit awkward looking, but you will notice how narrow this car is. This car is actually 100 millimeters less than the Citroën Ami. It's 1290 millimeters wide. And in fact, it's so narrow that I'm gonna hug it because it looks like it could be hugged. Look at that. Now, I've obviously got quite long arms, but you can hug the Toyota electric car if you would like. Now, obviously not much in the way of features, no radar, LiDAR, but it does have the charging here, and it's only got slow charging. So it takes 7 hours to charge the battery on a Japanese charging standard there. Coming round the side, past all the plastic body panels, again, we've got these small wheels. The doors are big enough for an adult to get in and out very easily. Egress, ingress is simple with the C+Pod. Now, the Japanese are experts of packaging, and I think even Jack would have no problem sitting in here. I've got plenty of headroom above me when I'm sat in here driving, and that's what they've done. They've pushed the wheels out to the edge of the car to leave the maximum space for the occupants on the inside. Now, let's talk about practicality, because let's think, this is a small car. This really is the only space for the boot, but it does have a pretty decent boot. Now, the good news is I can actually stand under here. Jack would struggle, but I've got my space for my bag. Oh, and then they've also left us charging cable in the back here. And I think this is about 120 litres, so perfect city car size. Put in a few bags of shopping or your going out bag for the day. And that's what you've got. Again, no touch buttons, just manual, plastic boot. all round a very practical, well thought out car. So let's talk specs about the C+Pod. Now the car comes with a gargantuan 9.06 kilowatt hour battery. You think, oh dear, that's not very much, but because of the efficiency of this car, it weighs just 690 kilograms, this gets 150 kilometers WLTP, the Japanese standard. So obviously you're going to get a little bit less than that and less than that in the winter, but that's really incredible to squeeze out that many kilometers from such a tiny battery. As part of that efficiency drive, the electric motor obviously plays a big part. So it's a 9.2 kilowatt motor, and that delivers 12 astounding horsepower. Now it's rear wheel drive, so you can maybe drift it a little bit. Probably not. I don't think it really has a proper handbrake. But that delivers 56 Newton meters of torque. Now this is limited to a top speed of 60 kilometers an hour, but coming here we managed to get 63 kilometers an hour downhill. So it does go a little bit faster, but it does eat up the battery very quickly. However, around Yokohama, driving around, you could easily just pop to the shops, pick up your shopping, go home, you've got enough space, you've got enough power, and then plug it in at home. And it just takes a few hours on a slow charger. There's no fast charging with this. It's an incredible piece of packaging that's come from Toyota, and they should be shouting about this car, saying, guys, this is the direction we're going in. We're going in the direction of efficiency. We're going to make these panels out of recycled plastic. We're going to have small motors, small batteries. This is the future of Toyota's electrification, in my opinion. And I just hope they can grasp hold of this and really take it to the future and not just stop producing this after 2 years and say, oh, we've done the electric thing. Let's talk about hydrogen. Weirdly though, that because this is such a small car, it doesn't feel bumpy or crashy or anything like that. The suspension feel is actually quite mature, and it does feel like a very comfortable ride. Obviously, we're on exceptionally smooth Japanese city streets, so that does help a lot. One thing I do have to complain about though is the steering feel. There is none. It's the loosest steering I've ever felt. You can do this and nothing happens at all. It's like someone forgot to connect these to the wheels and it's just going in a straight line all the time. Very unusual feeling. Now, before I get in, I just want to say that this interior skin is plastic and the exterior skin is also plastic. The rim is metal. But as we get in, we're treated to a very basic interior, but that is actually fine. The things you get air conditioning with a knob and a button. You get heated seats. Both seats are heated and it's either scaldingly hot or off. Those are the only two choices. You've got your reverse beepy beepy thing. You can turn that off. That's the official name. You've got your rear screen heater, and then your drive modes, reverse, neutral, drive, are here as well. Now, the only odd thing is what I said earlier, is this thing down here, which you've got to push to get the handbrake off. That's really old fashioned. Just give me an electric handbrake with a button. Can't be that much more expensive. This screen is aftermarket. They've installed this for us to get around Yokohama, so please ignore this. This doesn't come with the car. All you get is your range, the drive mode, and how many kilometers you're doing at the time. Again, this is limited to 60 kilometers an hour. But that's it. And I think what Toyota have done is, by focusing on the important things, is think about that efficiency drive. If they had a screen that's going to use more power, it's heavy, it's technology, it's going to go wrong, etc., etc., it's going to date the car. With this, you could drive this in 20 years, you'll probably maybe replace the battery, and it's still going to be a pretty functional city runaround. And let's not forget about the important Toyota hammer, which you need to bash on the heads of the executives who are still insisting that hydrogen is the answer. Now, what we have to really consider is, are Toyota taking this seriously? There's been a lot of noise about them continuing to develop ICE cars, to continue to develop hydrogen cars and their hybrids. And this is kind of the first or the second of their EVs. They've not really made much effort. But with this, it does show that Toyota can do it if they put their minds to it. Of course, this is just kind of a small experiment. It's not quite a compliance car, but it's not really a proper car for people to go out and buy and use much beyond Japan. This is very much a Japan-only car. Of course, it would fit into streets in the UK and in Europe very well. I don't think people would buy this. It's just, are they really going to continue making the effort to develop something like this, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe with 4 doors? That's the question that I want Toyota to answer. They've shown they can do it. This car is perfect proof that they can do it. But can they commit to it? Only time will tell. Toyota, if you are listening, this is a plea from me and from everyone else. You know how to make good cars. You know how to focus on efficiency. You even know how to make good EVs, and the demand is there. You need to get a wiggle on and start focusing on this area, because otherwise the Chinese are going to come in and eat your lunch. Talking of lunch, I'm going back to Yokohama in the C++ pod. See you later.